that I'm aware of. A split of roughly 50-50 between American and Canadian presenters.
Well, you know, it's... One sec here, Keith.
Yeah.
From the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, welcoming you to tonight's show, including, if you're listening on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Dr. Rowe and everybody at Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Hop on the SOR Newswire. Get up to date like Captain Shirk. Shop at the SOR Vault. Join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Pick up a new book at We Read the Night and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We kick off November with a look into the stars, as it's the first Friday of the month, which means it's time for R. Keith Andrews and the E.T. Connection. R. Keith is a lifelong E.T. experiencer who now helps counsel and guide those who are having experiences themselves. An author whose recent book breaks down alien species, Keith tonight will push the woo as we look at the connection between aliens and cryptids. Is there a connection at all? We'll find out. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, it is always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. Just think, man, this is the second to last show of 2019 for you and I. Where'd you go, Keith? I'm not hearing you.
I shut the mic off so that you couldn't hear me banging around.
Well, there you go. There you go. Usually when I introduce you, buddy, that's usually your time to talk.
Well, that is true. If it's any consolation, I answered.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. What do you say?
Oh, I'm just saying it was really nice to be back.
Oh, yeah. It's always a good pleasure to have you here, my friend. Always a good pleasure to have you. Man, it's hard to believe it's already been over a month since you and I were hanging out at the Forest Moon Paracon. Hard to believe already.
It just flew by.
I know. What's new in your world?
Well, in a nutshell, my youngest son moved out. And not my youngest, my eldest. Moved out, which means I ended up actually with an office outside of my bedroom now. Like, I've got the entire office set up nicely.
Well, that's nice.
I'm working on an expansion for Races of the Worlds, plus a few other books.
Very nice. Very nice. That's got to mean some fun for you. Now you got a little bit of space. What's it like to have one of the children finally decide to leave home and venture out into this big world on their own?
Well, for me, it really wasn't as big a shock. He tried it 3 years ago and then asked to stay home to buy a new computer. But the last year, he's essentially been living on his own anyway. I mean, he's lived here, but he's taken care of all of his utilities, his transport, his food, the whole 9 yards. So I know he's well set up on that end. And, of course, I've still got one at home, so I don't have that empty nest syndrome that people warned me about.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, good for him, and I hope he does well, buddy. I mean, I know how much your kids mean to you, and I'm sure you're giving them a lot of positive energy.
Oh, yeah. And as you can well imagine, I did let him know that, the fact he's moving out does not mean the door is closed.
Perfect.
My door is still wide open.
You're a good dad, my friend. I've seen it. I got to tell you, for everybody who doesn't know Keith personally, when you hang out with Keith, all of a sudden at 9 o'clock, 8:59, he disappears. And every night he calls his son to say goodnight, his youngest son, to say goodnight. That is good parenting, Keith. And I've always been very, very impressed by the way you will drop absolutely everything to make sure that your son gets a phone call from you. I just think that's total classy and a very, very good lesson for many of us to learn who, may take the time for granted with our children.
Well, I do appreciate that. It's just, I grew up in a world where that was the thing. Kids were, Whitney Houston said it best when she said the children are our future. They really are. And the reality is, when else do you get to see them? As they get older, they will go their own directions. You'll see less and less of them. It's neat. He moved out, but he's already talking about coming home for Christmas.
Well, that's good. Is he still in the same town?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just he wanted to be out on his own, and he wanted to be closer to work.
Well, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Keith, I got to ask you, when you have a life like yourself where you've, dealt with a lot of strange going on in your lifetime, as a parent, did you ever worry about whether or not this would be passed down to your kids?
Worry about it? No. It's sad to say I knew right from the get-go, so you just don't worry. It's kind of like worrying whether or not you're going to have oxygen to breathe. In my case, it was inevitable. Right. And so I'm not going to go into what they've already gone through. Aside from my youngest, he made a doll back in grade 6 that is now been pulled out of his room to live in my room. We are talking a hand puppet that decided in the middle of the night to sit up and look at him.
Oh, goodness.
Which did not make him extremely happy.
How did he handle that?
Panic-stricken into my room, yelling about the puppet getting up. And since it was on a shelf that he couldn't reach, the fact that it was sitting upright kind of led credence to the fact that it sat up. I think the hardest one for him was just about 2 months ago. I got off shift from work, told him I was going out to drop the garbage off, and he asked if he could stay up until I got back in because he was already late going to bed. I said, yeah, no problem. I come in and the lights were all off and he'd gone to bed. I never thought to look at the clock. Right, so I figured, okay, so I went to bed. Next morning I get up and he runs out of the bedroom, wraps his arms around me and goes, Dad, were you taken last night? I looked at him and went, yeah. I said, why? What's the problem? He says, well, you went out to take the garbage out and I stayed up as long as I could, but at 2 o'clock in the morning I just couldn't stay awake any longer. Right. I says, well, I told you I've been being taken regularly. He goes, I know, Dad, but I didn't believe you.
No kidding. How did he not hit the panic button?
Yeah. I do feel for him. For any parent out there that's got kids, it's a frightening thing, really, when you think about it, to know, your parent may go out the door for whatever, like there are professions you go out the door and you worry, is the parent going to come home? Right? It's another one to worry about whether or not they're even going to be on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, my friend. Let me ask you this. When did you know that your children started getting taken? I don't want to go too personal about the stories because I think that could be, I don't want to, get too personal. But as a parent, let's look at it from a parental standpoint. At what point did you know your kids were being taken?
Well, my eldest, he was less than 2 years old the first time he went. I don't know if he recalls it. My youngest, I'd say when I first found out about it, he was almost 6. Of course, he wasn't living with me for the first 4 years. He was living with me for the first 2. And then the next 4, he was with his mom. So I don't know what happened prior to that.
So the boys living with you, did their activity increase with the off-worlders?
Honestly, I have not noticed an increase in it. Of course, I'm probably the last person to ask, given frequency levels.
Well, obviously.
I don't with them when they were with their mom.
Right. Well, I always wonder about my children because, and I think any parent, because I make no bones about it, I've been taken. And I wonder about my children, whether or not they are or not. I cannot tell. I do not think they are. None of them have really come up for experiences like that. They haven't talked to me about it. And they know they can because, well, their father's a weirdo. So I'm just wondering, for you, since it's almost like everyday talk for you, if something happens to them, are they very open with their communication to come up to you and say, hey, Dad, I saw something last night that I'm not sure what happened. How does it go?
And you're essentially on now, the eldest doesn't talk much about anything. Right. I mean, he's open with me. But that side of it, he hasn't brought up a lot. The younger one is open about pretty much everything. Right. So he's had some interesting, like, I showed him a picture the other day, just today actually. Somebody sent me a video, and the look on his face when I showed him the video was incredible. And somebody sent me a video of a Coliseum-shaped ship over Mexico. Right. Purportedly, the video is now. I am not a video analyst, so I can't speak to the veracity of it. But the story I got told was it was sighted it was a live feed over Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I mean, the video is incredible. But I have no idea the veracity of it. But when I showed it to my youngest, he dang near had a coronary on me. I mean, that look that people get when they've seen something before?
Yes.
Some theories are?
Yes.
I know exactly what he went through. I don't know when he ran into these people. I haven't been able to ascertain that one yet. But I do know it was a Muldock ship. Nice people, temperamental, but clearly, from my standpoint, I don't worry about whether my son is in danger. Of course, I hold a slightly different position. Most parents, the moment you find out your kid's being taken, the first rule of thumb is, how do I protect him? Or, failing that, how do I help him cope?
That's just incredible. Just incredible. So for people out there, we're going to focus more later on cryptids and ETs as we go, but I am curious about this. For parents out there looking for signs that their children may be having ET contact, what should they look for?
Well, a couple of things you look for is distinct changes in pain patterning. One of the big ones, if your child has normally been relaxed and all of a sudden you find them looking to the skyline all the time, right? Or they start talking about feeling like they're always being watched. These are two of the obvious ones. The other thing is either major health shifts, as in either all of a sudden they start getting sicker, or they start missing illnesses altogether. Right. If either one of those happens, and these are just indicators, they do not on their own mean anything. It's once you start stacking them up that it begins to add up. Major dietary changes can also be indicative.
Mm-hmm. Lee in the chat room wants to know, and hi Lee, how you doing, buddy? He's wanting to know, how do you protect your children?
Oh, well, first and foremost, from a standard standpoint, as far as I'm aware, that virtually doesn't happen. I mean, the best I can tell you is if you're aware they're being taken, if you spot it when it's happening, you can intercede, and that really boils down to standing your ground. But if they're being taken without you being aware of it, your best protection is to talk to them about it, get as much information, help them feel as though this is a routine thing, like this is just a normal run of the mill. The more normal this seems, the less panicky they'll be, and the less trauma they'll go through.
That's perfect. Is there an age, Keith, that this starts happening? Is it adolescence? Is it infancy? Is it teenagers? When does this seem to start for many kids?
The majority of them seem to start in their somewhere between around the 4 or 5 year mark. Okay, most of them seem to start at the child age, although you will find, and like when it usually surfaces, is once you hit adolescence, once you get into that puberty point, where they start recollecting what's happened. As munchkins, they really don't tend to tell you much about what they're seeing. Primarily because they have no idea how to articulate it.
Gotcha. And Nikki is asking, but what if they were being tested on?
Well, again, the thing to keep in mind with the testing, most of the testing is basically a doctor's examination, for lack of a better way of putting it. Now, there are definitely extenuating circumstances, but even with them being tested, the more normal or the more mundane routine it can seem, in spite of the odd-looking people that they deal with, the easier the kids will be able to adjust to it. Now, I absolutely recommend that you don't go around, that nobody, the kids included, go around telling everybody that, even in today's world, that they think they're being abducted. Sad to say, as open as people are today, it still is not as accepted as, children have enough trouble as it is.
Yes.
Throwing that into the mix.
Question from Uncle Dale and his power stash. He's asking, why is major dietary changes a clue? Because
and you can check this with the information that astronauts go through. There's such a thing as a potassium crash, and you may find a sudden jump in some of the nutrients that end up burning out when you go off planet. Okay. Especially around puberty, and this is more this takes it way outside the abduction level. But if you happen to have a child that is, and is, unbeknownst to you, a hybrid, then puberty is the most likely time for that diet shift to happen. You know, you won't see it. You won't see a dietary shift on the whole with little kids. But with teenagers, it can go radically to a different direction.
Let's see here. I'm just looking to see if there's other questions going on here. Okay, getting back to the ages of kids. I've always, with my children, been open. I've allowed them to come, and if they said they had a weird experience, I've allowed them to come talk to me, and I never ridiculed them or anything along those lines. Still don't.
Yeah, clearly.
And will never, yeah. But for a lot of parents who say this is imagination, this is a bad dream, this is just what children do as their minds start to grow, and this is what happens. What do you say to combat that to parents who believe it's just a bad dream or imagination?
Well, two major factors. One, I certainly understand why they look at it. Trust me, from the kid's standpoint, definitely a bad dream. But the reality is, where we talk about the imagination, take a look at the emotional response. Yes, children will get panicky on a bad dream or on a nightmare. But if you haven't been showing your kids movies that are designed to scare the daylights out of them, and all of a sudden they're having problems, the trick is, do not, regardless of the age of the child, do not disregard what they're telling you as it's just your imagination. Right? Basically, you have to look at it. You got to realize the kid, no matter what's going on, feels that's a real event. Now, of course, if the child has talked about certain contact points, check them out, and just tell the child right in front of them, right there, in a calm fashion. Let's just take a look and see if there's any marks on your arm. You said you got hit, touched there, you got hit there. Let's take a look and see if there's any bruising. Right? Do not try and conceal it from them, because I will tell you, having grown up that way, it causes way more damage trying to conceal it, because they know something's gone on. Okay, now, if they think that there's if they're telling you their arm, they've got a chunk taken out of their arm, and all you find is a little divot, point out it wasn't a chunk. Yes, there's a little divot there that I don't recognize, but understand the real critical factor is really help them accept the fact they're not in danger. The fact they're brought back says they're not in danger. This is why helping them look at it as though it's simply a doctor's visit, akin to a doctor's visit, will help the child immensely. Not entirely certain that's going to make the parent feel all that great, but, because I know from a parental standpoint, you'd like to be able to protect your kids.
That is very true. That is very true. But when it comes to ETs, and if they're taking the children, we may not have a choice. Have you ever been on craft in one of your experiences and looked to see your child on the same craft?
My child, no. Not that I recall, in fairness. Mind you,
okay, do you feel fortunate about that, though?
Well, I'm not entirely certain if it's unfortunate or not, in all fairness. I know that one thing is for certain, with the look on my little guy's face when he realized I'd actually been taken, you can bet your bottom dollar he's never seen me on craft before. Okay, I mean, there are certain things that just do not hide well.
Very true. Very true. Maybe they move kids to a different area, though.
Quite often they do, and the reason for that is very simple. See, kids are more accepting of grays than adults are. The adults tend to need the Nords around to reassure them that they're okay. Because adults on the whole do not handle the zeta reticuli very well.
Yes, we've noticed. My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection are on the first Friday of every month, and Keith will be right back. We're going to get into a few of your questions. Cryptids and aliens coming up on the Mighty SOR.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd Psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. You can also join up on the SOR Space Travelers Club, a lovely, lively chat there going on right now. Hi, everyone. And, of course, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. You need a t-shirt or something like that. You really do. It adds to your wardrobe, makes you look good. Our Keith Andrews is here with the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month. Keith, we're going to get right to it here because I got a ton of great questions for you from our audience lining up in the chat rooms and on Twitter. So let's get to it, shall we?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I am going to get to this question. In LGAB, Haderach is asking, I had an MRI and a CAT scan when I contracted meningitis. Happened in 2003. Well, the doctors came into the room after the scan and asked me when I was shot in the head with a BB or a pellet gun. I said, never. They said something happened because I have a small metal object the size of a large BB or pellet in my skull. Would have just blown it off if not for my night terrors. I call them night terrors because I don't know what else to call them. Also, have seen red dots moving in my bedroom in the middle of the night when I wake up for some reason. What the hell is going on?
Well, I'm not one to be subtle, so we'll just live with it. I'll apologize ahead of time in case you haven't figured it out, but you've been tracked. It's that simple. And they are, whatever triggered it, the question he's got to look at is whether or not either one of his parents or both have had something of a similar ilk. take place, because the odds are he's a generation runner. Because if he's inside the brain, they're looking for more than just keeping an eye on where he is. They're looking for sensory relay.
All right. So does this mean that that's an implant that Haderach has in his head?
There is no doubt in my mind, yeah. From everything I'm picking up around it, yeah, I would be inclined to say he's not in any danger. He's not in any. There's no medical complication that will come out of it. But there is no doubt that he's been tagged.
So in other words, Haderach's got aliens.
No doubt.
Yeah.
From my end, no doubt.
All right. Follow up from Haderach. We'll get it right out of the way. Says, if you have a tendency to want to keep a particular child close by, such as have wanted to have them sleep with you and your wife longer than what would be normal, could that indicate something, like not liking them to be alone at night?
In and of itself, the answer is no, not usually. But in Haderach's case, I'd be inclined to say it's a high probability as to why he's done that. There are some parents that are just plain overprotective and don't want their kid to grow up. The reality is, in Haderach's case, there are definitively extenuating circumstances that are undoubtedly triggering that.
Yes.
The real question would be whether his other half has the same tendency.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on here. Lee has a question. He's asking, is there any evidence to suggest autism in children is linked to the abduction phenomena?
Only as a study point. It's not cause and effect, which I think is where he's going. In other words, the abduction does not cause autism, but depending on the race and what the study is, autism may be a trigger, may be a target marker. In other words, the kid has autism, let's pick him up and take a look at how that differs from standard. But it's not, it would be a case of the child had autism and then got abducted, not vice versa.
God of Thunder on Twitter wants us to know if we're going to be selling our Keith Andrews mugs and cutlery.
Well, as twisted as that is, I will tell you this, it is something I've been playing around with. I just haven't found a supplier yet.
Oh, my friend. Oh, I love you. I love you. All right, let's get to Twitter. Greco is asking, do aliens have ghosts? Are they haunted by ghosts and other aliens who die?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to think about that?
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell us a little story about that. Give us a ditty.
Well, I remember one ship that I got called up to was because there were a number of the command crew that were complaining that an old supply clerk they had that they knew had been spaced kept showing up at the cafeteria, and they had multiple reports of this guy. And I'll use the term "guy" a little loosely. He was male, but that's as far as we can go. Okay, multiple reports of people finding him going through the supply cabinets. Apparently, he was not ready to let his job go. He had ended up being spaced because of an accident. They ruptured a hull. Unfortunate situation with a I was going to say asteroid, but really it was a tiny meteor that just punched a hole and went straight through, took the hull out, which put him outside, which was not a good place for him. But I got called in because I work in that field anyway, and they wanted to know what to do about it. Long story short, we ended up sending him home.
All right, let's get to... Go ahead. Finish up, buddy. Finish up.
Yeah, it works the same way for them as it does for humans.
All right. In the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, Frequency Girl is asking, I'm wondering what it means when a parent and child see UFOs regularly together.
Well, ultimately, the odds are you're both being taken.
Aliens.
Yeah.
You got aliens.
Yeah, from my standpoint, that's just standard. But again, I do not feel a threat around it. If you find you're both going, looking, like watching them, you can bet that it's a positive interaction you're having. If you both all of a sudden find yourselves hiding underneath the dining room table, it's not such a good interaction.
All right, let's move on. We got lots more questions here coming up. Oh, Uncle Dale's wearing his bowler hat. He just showed the picture. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And let me find a question here for you. All right. Shar is asking, what can you tell us about the military working with ETs in abductions and experiments?
Well, we could go into a whole pile of information there. The one thing that we can eliminate is to the best of my knowledge, there is no contract regarding abduction quantities, abduction quotas. But there is absolutely zero question that many of the Terran governments have interactions on from a military standpoint with the off-worlders. Depending on the country will determine what the off-worlder is. But the one static truth is that the off-worlders will not give off-world combat technology. Okay, there is no doubt that mankind is taking the idea of some of their weapons and doing their best to replicate it, but it is not being turned over by the off-worlders. Primarily because you give one country an off-world weapon, and you've just tilted the balance of power drastically. Okay, and that's one thing they won't do. But I know for an absolute fact, I call it fact, I can't prove it, but been there and done that. The Thrussosians, which are your 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilians, definitively they work inside underground bases with human military. That one I've seen firsthand. There are a number of other races I've seen in the same venue. So yeah, but they are all classified above top secret.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, before we get to our next question, I got a couple of young friends listening in. Hi, Jason Jameson. Thank you so much for talking about aliens. These are two young lads who are wondering whether or not aliens are real. Yes, my dear young friends, aliens are real.
Oh, there you go. Well, no functional one.
Exactly. You don't want any aliens, kids. You do not want any aliens. Well, some of them you do. Just not the bad ones.
Well, my best friends are off-worlders.
This is true. This is true. All right, let's move on to another question here. This one from... All right. Yeah, well, we'll stay in pattern here. We'll stay in pattern from Frequency Girl. What off-worlders does Canada work with? Are they different from the United States?
Some of them. I mean, Canada has direct contact with Thrussosian, with the Greys, with the Nords, and they have, and even with the Mobians. Martokians don't exactly work with the Canadian government, but they are on Earth. Or more to the point, they visit Earth. Okay, the one race that the Canadians tend to work with, the Americans don't, is Yucca. Okay, the Yucca they basically, quite literally, look like an owl. Those guys are primarily contained to the far north. So you get a few of them over in Russia and Siberia, around that area, but they prefer the colder areas.
Why do they prefer the? Well, that's because we're better here. Let's be honest. It's nice and cold here, so it's the way it works.
I don't know. We're still sitting above zero here.
You're in that nice climate. You're in that nice climate.
Oh, I agree with you. Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to another question here from the SOR Space Travelers Club. This one coming from Joey, who says, how do you think an alien whistleblower would be handled?
Depends on what race, but I'm presuming he's referring to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dave, but I'm presuming he's referring to, what if an alien were to come out and say, hey, I'm an alien, I'm here?
I think he's referring to, maybe, that could be. Joey, let us know in the Space Travelers, if you don't mind, what you mean by that. But I think what he's talking about is, let's say somebody within the government came out and said, look, I'm working with aliens right now, or something along those lines.
Depending on the government and the position the person is actually physically holding, the government is still not ready, apparently, to come out and absolutely admit to having direct contact, so I'm thinking this would not be handled well. Somehow, for whatever reason, in spite of the different governments putting up monuments and passing laws regarding them, they're still unwilling to say, yes, there are aliens. I like the latest one I caught wind of, where the Navy came out and said, absolutely, there are unidentified craft. And then they backed up and went, but we cannot guarantee that they're run by aliens. I'm just sort of looking at it going, well, what else is going to be running ships that you don't recognize?
I hear you. All right, let's move on to some more questions here. Well, let's see here. There's Kevin and Kevin's beard, two separate entities. All right. I just want to make sure because my scrolling was a little bit ahead of itself. All right. Shar is asking, do aliens ever take pets?
Absolutely. How's that for a nutshell answer? The chupacabra being one that just happened to get away. The Maldocs do have pets of their own. If you think a pit bull is a dangerous pet, you should see what the Maldocs call a pet. But yes, much like humans, they definitively have extra pets, have other animals. It's funny when you take a look at the Tekla, which is your 4.5 to 5.5, 3 to 5 foot raptor-like reptilian. They have what amounts to a real nasty chicken that they tend to keep around, much like cats do, much like people keep cats. It's a funny looking thing, though. I mean, quite frankly, it's got a beak on both sides. It's from a human standpoint, it looks really weird.
All right. Joey has another question, this one about pets. Keith, can you describe what the pets are like for the other races in space? You got into one there. Do they have dogs, dinosaurs, humans? Some sort of, Zygostian type pet that has 4 tongues and 18 eyeballs. I don't know.
Well, the answer to that is scrap the 4 tongues thing, but the 18 eyeballs, that is normal amongst the arachnids. Okay, because many of their pets have the multiple eyes. Something to do with the fact that, well, frankly, the whole evolutionary pattern went that way. You know, I mean, I'm looking at a bunch of these, right? Many of the different races, when you start taking a look at, well, I think one of the best ones that I ran into was the Zotar. The Zotar are reptilian, but they're only 6 inches tall. And it's funny when you think they look very much like a gecko. But it's kind of funny when you think that their pets are big enough to ride. Okay. And when I mean big enough, I mean as in, I guess the best way I can look at it is, I was going to ask if you know what a capybara looks like. Basically, it's a South American rodent. Okay, but a very shaggy little thing. And the gecko, they are pets, very much like you would consider an oversized lapdog. Right. That they do treat very much like a normal, like you would a normal dog. Only thing is, they are not dogs. The one thing, the biggest difference I think with those ones is you cannot give them dog biscuits and make them happy.
All right, let's move on over to Twitter here. Obi-Wan has a question in regards to aliens who like to dine on humans every now and again. If they're chasing military pilots in the sky and the pilots get scrambled, does this mean the aliens eat scrambled pilots for breakfast?
Mm-hmm. Now, that depends entirely on whether they pick the pilot off. But no, the reality is that the Tech-like, which are the ones he's referring to, I'm wondering whether I should actually put that on the air.
Bring it. We only got about 2.5 minutes. You got to bring it, man. You got to bring it. Don't leave us hanging. We need the woo. We need the woo, man.
They prefer them alive.
I knew you were going to say that.
You asked.
Why alive? Why not over a nice crisp barbecue or something like that?
Well, frankly, according to them, the flavor's better.
Oh, man. Do they add any hot sauce? Like some Frank's Red or something along those lines?
Not like you're thinking. Although I have heard some of them talk about they don't mind if the individual involved gets a little bit of vodka or whatever else they can get a hold of into them. It's kind of like, if you will, cooking with wine. And yes, I can get into a very twisted conversation.
Well, wouldn't be the first time we headed down that road, my friend.
Well, that's true. But there's only so far down the rabbit hole, that I'm going to go.
Oh, come on. You're holding out on us, and that's not even fair. Your fans, especially those on Twitter, need this, Keith. They need this.
Well, the good news is there are, I don't have a problem with going to part of it. There are certain questions that do come up that we just won't go to. But we'll get to them if they come up. The reality of it is when you're dealing with the ones that we're referring to are the Tech-like, 3.5 to 4.5 foot raptor-like reptilians, 4.5, 5.5. They're about 3.5 feet tall, right? I mean, it's a very simple issue. They are not exactly known to be nice. The other race, I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it on air here, about the no, we weren't on air yet when I mentioned the Maldark craft that showed up. See, the Muldock will actually baste their food, but they prefer roasted.
Got you. All right, my friend, I'm going to get you to hold on here as we're going to go to break at the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews, always entertaining, always live, always awesome, and the ever professional when it comes to talking about all things extraterrestrial. We love this dude here, man. Comes in the first Friday of every month. We're going to turn up the woo. Hour 2, Spaced Out Radio, the ET Connection, coming up after this.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spaced out radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Hi to everyone listening in on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KCFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio. Did Bart L. really die tonight? Did he? We don't know. We'll see if the legend continues. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, thank you so much for tuning us in as well. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Asiak Katura? Asiak Katura is your password? I have no idea if I pronounced it right, but the clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Website, spacedoutradio.com. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, or pick up a brand new book at We Read the Night. Don't forget, sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is only $5 a month. Our Keith Andrews is here for the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month. And Keith, we're going to roll right into it because we got a ton of questions. I'm about 25 minutes behind on the questions. So if I haven't got to your question, if you're in one of the chat rooms, do me a favor. Just sit tight. I will get to it. Here we go. Keith, Will is asking, do nasal implants make clicking noises while in the sinus cavity?
They can. Usually that happens when they went to put it in. If either they ended up fracturing the cartilage, or if the person had a fractured cartilage to start with.
Okay.
Yeah, because what they'll hear, because when you breathe, depending on whether they seated it properly, it can move a fraction, at which point you'll hear that click.
Okay. Let's move on. We got lots. Nikki is asking, Keith, do you get physical reactions such as a headache or severe stomach pains before you're taken?
Myself, no. You know, the reality is, for me, it's become so routine, it's just kind of a normal thing. Although I do quite often end up with blood on my pillows. Even at the Paracon, I ended up with that mess. That was an interesting night.
What happened there?
Well, because of when I fly with the bad leg, I'm always having trouble walking when I come off the plane.
Right.
So I was having a lot of trouble Friday night. Trying to walk. I was putting a lot of weight on the cane in the first place. But that night, Friday night, I went to bed. I'd been on Skype with somebody else until like 3:00 in the morning. And then we called it a night, and I rolled over and went to sleep. Even the person on the other end of Skype had commented that there was some sort of really bizarre noise that I just chalked up to the air conditioner. But a couple of days after the Paracon, I got contacted by somebody that told me that they had been drawn out of the hotel at about 4:00 in the morning. And I said, what hotel were you at? And they went, well, the one you were at. Right? As it turned out, what had happened was about 4:00 in the morning, about 3/4 of the hotel guests had been pulled outside because of some sort of a really odd magnetic hum. And everybody was looking at the sky. But no, from what I gathered, nobody physically saw anything. They just felt it. Of course, when I woke up in the morning, there was blood all over the pillow, and then I could walk. Didn't have a problem with my leg at all for the rest of the weekend. You know, so I mean, this is where I get my. You know, it happens regularly, but it's nice getting the corroboration on occasion. Although a trip to back home would be nice on occasion too. Be a heck of a lot cheaper and quicker.
All right, let's continue on with the questions as we continue the ET Connection with Mr. R. Keith Andrews. Catherine's asking, if aliens don't exist, what would you say is happening to you?
If they don't exist?
Let's just say they didn't exist.
Well, that's the easy part. I'm completely nuts.
No, don't go there.
Well, the
You're
reality
not allowed to go there.
Here's the problem. If they don't exist, with the amount of people that have seen things happen, have seen the side effects of it, then you have only one of two options. Either I have such a strong belief that it's affecting other people, or we can go the religious route if you want and go, God is just playing a real cruel joke. from my way of looking at it, asking whether aliens exist or not is kind of like asking whether there's oxygen in our atmosphere. You can't see it, but there's little question that it's here.
All right. Let's continue on with the questions. Starflower is chiming on in. Hi, Starflower. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio chat room. Why are aliens so fond of Earth?
Because the database on Earth via the triple helix combined with and its interaction with the neural net is the greatest repository of data in the sector. And of course, right now, just to make matters more entertaining, from a xenosocioeconomic standpoint, this is an extremely exciting time in civilization evolution. So they're watching firsthand the evolution of a society that's on the brink of either tearing itself totally apart or finally pulling itself together to work as a unit. You don't get the opportunity to see it that often. And in all fairness, you can thank the Martokians for that one. Okay, Martokians...
I always like to blame a good Martokian on Earth problems, too.
I was actually referring to their interest in the evolution.
Oh, see, okay, I blew that one then.
No, the Martokians are actually from Mars. The funny thing is, people talk about Martians being little green men. Well, much as they're green, they're over the 600. Many of them are human-sized.
Awesome.
The thing you got to look at there is, and this is something that is statistically proven, apparently, that the UFO sightings tend to triple every time Mars gets to its closest point to Earth. Which, if you think about the practicality of it from a field trip, from a student field trip standpoint, that'll make sense. You move the planet closer, it's easier to make a field trip.
All right, let's move on here as we continue. Frequency Girl is asking in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, are researchers gagged in revealing real info in UFOs and aliens?
Everything I've been told? Yeah, most of them, yes. Okay, from what I can gather. I know when the CIA showed up on my doorstep that the woman I was talking to told me flat out she had a gag order on her. So my guess is, my suspicion is there's two issues. One, some of them are gagged. Two, because of the way that the ufology is looked at by the rest of the accepted sciences, they don't want to have their credentials revoked, if you will, or get blackballed and shoved right out of their fields. So they don't tend to say anything.
How come?
Well, if you think about it, if you're a professor and you're researching things and you come across information of that caliber, most of the accepted sciences will not take something without concrete proof. It's weird, They're researchers, and yet they won't look at the stuff that is really weird.
Oh, why would they?
Well, from my standpoint, I've gone into research. If it's weird, that would be the thing that caught my attention. I mean, it was kind of like when I watched the Ouija board. The first time I worked with one, I watched the planchette bury itself in a concrete wall. My interest is
nice.
Oh,
all right, let's go back to LGAB here. Hatterack is asking, you keep calling aliens off-worlders. Are we completely sure they're not time travelers? Speaking
absolutely,
of
100% certain of that.
Okay, run with that then. Run with that.
time travel does not happen in reverse. You can jump forward in time, but you cannot come back and interact. Okay, the reason being, time itself, the past is written, it is just that way. And the way I finally had somebody explain it nicely, because you have to move forward in time, your forward would put, if you were to go back in time, first and foremost, you can't get there to start with, but the other aspect of it is that past becomes your present, and our current future becomes your now past. So changing something in the present will not change where you came from. But that would be the first issue, is reverse time travel does not work. You can look back, you can watch what happened, you can figure it out, from an observational standpoint. But you cannot go back and warn people this is what's coming. You can't go back and get the winning lottery numbers from last week and jump forward for yourself. Or go back and bet on a Cubs game sort of thing. Doesn't work that way.
All right, Kevin is asking, Keith, do you have a practical way that I can find out about my contacts I've had? They are blocked from my memory, yet they speak from my mind that bits of those situations did occur. Just saying, find it frustrating to find a trusted hypnotist is like telling me to find a good alien mechanic who won't overcharge me on my next transmission repair.
Well, he does have a point. He absolutely has a point. From a practical standpoint, the best thing I can suggest is when you get these little snippets, write them down. Literally start compiling the data as you recall it. And what you'll find happen is you'll get enough information pulled together that you'll have to go either it's real or you'll be able to at least work with it. The way it was put to me by one individual was the evidence that I have by doing that, because of the memory and what have you, I got told point blank that I've got enough circumstantial evidence to convict somebody of murdering somebody where the victim died 100 years before the accused was born. Your most practical method is documentation. And where you think there might be somebody else involved, if you can talk to them and get them to write down whatever they recall, that will help. But I think that's about the most practical method that you're going to work with. I mean, I agree with him wholeheartedly that finding a functional hypnotherapist is almost impossible. Because even ones that are recommended, the individual, if you've never dealt with them before, you're going to have those questions.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on. I'm almost caught up here. Shar is asking, how do aliens make themselves invisible? Is that like mind control or something else?
That depends on the race. The Pleiadian hybrids are what they call shifters. What they themselves refer to as shifters, meaning they control the pigmentation in their skin, which enables them to look like flesh and blood. The Maldocs have technology that literally bends light so you just cannot see them. You look at them and it's a technology that basically it's a computerized imaging system, much like the one they've got in Japan. The one in Japan that they've got that they use on the big trucks was patterned after the Maldakian personal field. What it does is you look at them and the computer system translates and takes a picture of what's behind them and puts it in front of them and puts it on the front of the in real time, puts it on the front of their armor. Net result, they vanish completely. Other than a little bit of a fringe ripple, kind of like a heat wave. And then there are some, like when you take a look at the shadow walkers, those people, they just simply move so fast you can't track them.
I see.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are multiple different ways that they do it.
All right, Let's move on to another question here. Frequency Girl is asking, what is Venusian arts?
Venusian arts are their... How do I put this? They are much like human art, painting, sculpting, anything, carving, whatever. But they do it in such a way that they imbue the artwork with the emotions of the artist at the time to a much more palpable level than what humans do. Whereas, like, for instance, if you're painting a storm scene, right, you physically feel like you're caught in that storm. Or you feel like you can physically hear the lightning. And that's just one simple example of it. If you get the really good ones, the pictures, it's not so much as they appear to move as they do. As they physically end up moving.
Yes. Right. All right. Shall we move on? Let's. Jeffro is asking, Keith, do we lead multiple lives in different timelines at once?
From everything I've seen, no. Okay, basically it boils down to this. Does the multiverse exist? The answer is yes. But what people don't realize is you have individual parts of you, individual parts of the soul that are identical to you for all intents and purposes that are living those lives. It's not one individual. If you're looking at, 100 different lifelines, you're looking at literally 100 different parts of you that are on those different life tracks. The journey that people are on to remember who they are is literally to find all of those parts. I think that's the best way that I can put it. I hope that
right. I think it made sense. All right, we got about 2.5 minutes here before we got to go to break. And I know Joey has a question that's kind of tied into me. So I'm going to leave that one until after the break because I'm sure you're going to want to go into detail about that one. But, here's a question. Let's go to Canadian Joe on Twitter. Keith, have you ever been asked to join any kind of governmental groups, CIA, NSA, CSIS in Canada, or the To the Stars Academy?
No. No, the closest I came to that was having the CIA show up at my doorstep and telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. Or more to the point, they told me I didn't know anything that they didn't know. My response was a little less than happily accepted. But no, I've never been approached by them. And exactly why? Don't know. Am I concerned about it? No. The one problem that I can sense with a lot of those groups is a lot of them dictate how they want you to respond. And I'm not good at following orders. I'm probably
a rebel. You are a rebel.
I don't know if I'm a rebel or just have a permanent hoof and mouth disease.
I think we all got that. Would you though, if they approached you?
Depends on
let's say the TTSA or the CIA approach you and says, we want you to help us get in contact. Would you do it?
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would certainly.
What if they offered you like $100,000?
They could offer me all the money on the planet. It wouldn't make any difference to me. The reality is that the number one, most of these organizations, I'm not going to identify which ones by name, but most of them do not follow through with their contracts in the first place. And, in trying to help them make contact, especially when you think that they claim that they've got the same information I do, and yet they're still doing the same things. It doesn't make sense to me to light a match.
Okay.
I mean,
let's hold the thought right. Let's hold the thought right there, because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Load up the questions. Our Keith Andrews is here for the ET Connection. We're supposed to talk about cryptids and aliens, but all of you in the chat rooms have taken over the show with your fantastic inquisitions. So keep it on up. We'll get to more our Keith Andrews right after this on Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
The halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Good to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder to all of you, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free YouTube channel. That's where we store our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Pick up a new shirt, hoodie, pillow, button, whatever you want at the SOR Vault. And don't forget to join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You're going to be glad you did. We're having a lot of fun in there tonight. Our Keith Andrews is here for the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month, where we bring up the woo because we can. Keith is a lifelong experiencer. He's an author, counsels people who have gone through some really strange experiences. Welcome back, bud.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. We love it. Love it. All right. Let's continue on here on the show. Joey was asking about some of my experiences for some reason. What's with that, Joe? Says, Keith, can you give Dave some closure and find out the details of his abductions?
Well, the answer to that is yes. The difficult part is this. In order to do so, first and foremost, and I know I asked you this online or in our off time there, Dave, I won't even touch it without Dave's go-ahead. The difficult part with it is this, though. The best thing, the thing when you're trying to recover memories is if somebody comes out and says, this is exactly what I saw, it has a tendency of digging itself in and it becomes the memory, which is not healthy for Dave, and it's not healthy for anybody else that it goes that way. This is why it is so difficult to find a hypnotherapist that's qualified. Because most of them, unfortunately, no disrespect intended to the industry, but most of them have a tendency of, unbeknownst to them, asking leading questions. And especially when you're dealing with an abduction where the memory is sketchy at best, there are ways of getting it to come to the surface, but flat out relaying it. I did it with one individual. Of course, I did it with him right there. And I laid out a bunch of what he didn't tell me what he'd been through, and I laid out a bunch of what I had seen. And he pipes up and looks at me and he goes, the only way you could have known that is if you were there when it happened. So my comment was, well, yeah, but I told you I was watching it right from the start. He goes, yeah, but I didn't think that you meant literally. The problem is, can I say, the answer to your question is, can I sit down with Dave and help him bring it to the surface? The answer is definitively yes.
The funny part about it is, when we had the ET experience, when Carl came back on October 27th of 2017, you were the first person I called, and it was weird because I remember that opening phone call when you took my call. You had just woken up for some unknown reason because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning when I called you.
Yeah, and the phone didn't wake me up. I literally had come to moments earlier, which was why I was able to answer the phone in the first place. But yeah, that was a conversation that was just priceless. I found it priceless. I'm pretty certain you found it rather disconcerting.
Well, I was just when you got aliens and they're chatting in your backyard and up your driveway, and you can hear them back and forth at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie, Keith. It's a little intimidating.
Absolutely can be. I mean, especially where you live. It would have been one thing to hear coyotes or something. But to hear that kind of chitter it's got to be unnerving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was for me, that was a very entertaining, very enjoyable conversation. I'm not entirely certain that enjoyable would necessarily be the word that I'd use to describe it on your part.
Oh, it was all right. All right, let's move on here. Let's get to another question. Danny on Twitter says, Keith, do you know of any alien races that come out in public as maybe on Halloween, not to attack people, but to blend in with the rest of us and our costumes?
Absolutely. There's a few of them that'll do that. One of the obvious ones is you will find elves will come out, and the elfin people will come out. You'll find some dwarves once in a while will come out. Of course, there's a number of different races like that can pull it off. Not the least of which is you'll find Nordics will show up. Let me just think here. I know that I've seen Radio Command come out on occasion. Those are people that work in a very specific part of the consortium. You will absolutely find fairy folk come out. It's not so much they blend in as people just simply accept the fact that weird things happen on Halloween night, so they don't worry so much about the lights. Or about things flitting by that chalk it up. Usually, at night during Halloween, people will chalk anything flying up to being bats, in the right area, and that's where you'll find the fairy folk fit in quite nicely. Because they fly fast enough, and because it's all shadowy, you can't get a clear fix on them.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. All right. Let's move on here to the next question. Joey's asking, do aliens take advantage of Halloween and walk in... sorry, we just kind of asked that. I apologize. All right, let's go to Frequency Girl, the SOR Space Travelers Club. Do chemtrails hide portals to and from outer space for ships?
Possibly by accident, but that's not the purpose. There are two sets of chemtrails being dumped. One set is being dumped, quite frankly, it's got a lot of toxins in it, a lot of different chemicals and what have you, quite frankly, not designed for beneficial use. The second set is being overlaid to counteract what the first set is doing. Because chemtrails, quite frankly, do a lot more damage to the environment than what the people that are putting the chemtrails down think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But their purpose is not to conceal portals.
There you go. All right. Let's move on here. Oh, Joey. Are the aliens jealous of Bumblefoot's guitar skills? I'll answer that. Yes, they are. Who isn't jealous of Ron Bumblefoot THAL's guitar skills? Even Slash is. Yeah, I went there, people. I totally went there. All right, moving on. Here we go. PBR is asking, which planet of the consortium were you born on, R. Keith Andrews?
I wasn't. I mean, and what I mean by that is that Sol 4, i.e. the planet we're standing on, which is where I was born at this point, isn't actually a member of the consortium yet.
All right. Tripper's asking. Oh, you want to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
If we go back as far as my memories go, my first memory is extremely pre-consortium. If you start looking at past lives, my memories go back before they even came into existence. And that's a whole different ballgame of questions.
All right, let's move on here. Let me find one. Trip is asking, Mr. R. Keith, did your children notice, feel, see, encounter anything while you were dealing with any of your medical incidents this year?
That they confided in me, and they confided in me of, the answer is no. Okay, they were more concerned with whether or not I was actually going to survive the problem. And I must admit, they jumped in really fast to pick up the slack. But did they bring anything extra to my attention? No. Does that mean nothing happened? No, it just means I don't know about it.
Awesome. Your kids are strong, man. PBR is asking, do you believe the moon is hollow?
Only in parts, but not the way he's referring. And the reason I say only in parts is because there is a tunnel network in it. But the moon itself, number one, isn't hollow as such. It is also not a ship. Which I've heard that rumor too. Although the neat part about it is it does have a low-grade atmosphere on it already. Which is really going to cause some interesting side effects when the when the world governments get together and actually do what they're in the process of trying to orchestrate.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Let us move on here. I think we're caught up on questions. Holy cow. All right. Oh, here's one from Joey. He's firing away today. I think Joey is sitting in front of his computer, literally with a bottle of peach schnapps and a cigarette in the hand, typing away with his visor and sunglasses on in dim light.
Okay, not even the cigarettes,
and the TV with the news on it. Yeah. That's what I think Joey's doing right now. He's asking, do these other alien species have sports?
Absolutely. The first game that I remember playing, I was only 5 years old, and we were playing what amounted to zero-G wall ball. You want to see a brutal game of what amounts to football. The consortium has picked up a few games that they've watched Terrans play, but they've got a much more brutal outlook on it. You take a look at vegans when they play what they consider football. It creates one heck of a mess. Think of it this way. With football, when there is the impact, you get bodies flying all over the place. People get hurt. When vegans go into this into their version of football, they literally end up leaving limbs behind that have to be reattached. It is, and the other thing is, the other one that they've got is they do have their version of the old chariot races and what have you. You just have to realize that some of these races, that their sports are a lot more volatile than what mankind's are. And a lot of it, especially with the consortium, a lot of it they go for zero-G versions.
Sounds fun.
I think one of the best ones I ever saw was one that the fighter pilots play, which amounts to what it boils down to is it's a game of billiards using asteroids. I think that's the best way to describe it, because what they do is with their repulsor cannons, they use them to, call it billiards or call it croquet, take your pick. Either way, the idea is knock the asteroids into the nearest sun. Because it won't do any damage to the sun. But it's a way of honing skills.
Text message.
I think so. Which is really weird since I turned the volume down on the thing.
You know what? That is actually kind of strange, because I was sitting right here when you turned it down, because it was going off before the show.
Yeah.
Very strange.
It's still turned down.
Weird.
Welcome to technology in my world.
Weird. You got aliens, Keith. You got aliens.
Aliens, ghosts, non-terrestrial.
What the hell? Let's just run with it. All right, continuing on here, Mr. Keith Andrews. Nobody really knows what the secret R is in the front, but that's okay. That's quite okay. All right, moving on. Catalina's asking, do extraterrestrials have their own holidays? If so, what and why?
Well, the answer would be yes. The what would depend on the race. Okay, and the why. Well, much like the only one that they've got, and it's not on the same day, because they don't have the same calendar, so we'll just scrap that idea. But the one holiday that they've got that is similar in nature and varies from one race to the next, is, and you're going to love this one, but the birth of what mankind calls the birth of Christ, a.k.a. Christmas. They have it from a different, they call it a different thing, but then they've got different names. And the calendars are completely screwball. But they have, a lot of their holidays are more from the standpoint of either, much like on Earth, major civilization or evolutionary turning points, or in some cases, massive battle victories. They don't tend to celebrate major amounts of death so much as turning points where there was a lot more people that lived.
Right. All right. Well, let's see where we go there. All right. Coming up with another question here. PBR is asking, do you believe there are alien structures built on the far side of our moon?
Well, yeah, I would have to say, considering they've got an entire encampment over there, well, they've got an entire network set up over there. The answer would be, yeah. In my case, I got the lucky point of it. I don't have to rely on other people that have said, "Oh, we've got the suspicion." I've seen it.
What does it look like?
Well, a lot of it looks like standard rock formation, but that's because of the fact they build it underground, because the atmosphere on the moon is not solid enough to burn out a lot of the minor meteors that go by. So you have to bury it, right? But there are some striking technological pieces over there that NASA has not let the world see.
Like what? Tease us a little bit.
Well, like they do have an atmospheric. Well, it is an atmospheric generator that runs off sonic and solar collection. Right. The neat part about it is because of the way their technology works, let's say the piece of equipment they use collects up the solar radiation, but it also picks up the sound from that solar radiation, creating two funnels of energy input. The other thing it also picks up on is the ground-based tremors. Mankind's got some phenomenal seismic recording devices, but none of mankind's actually collect the sound. They track it, but they don't do anything with it.
Frequency Girl is asking if there are any glass buildings on the moon.
Not by human standard. Are there buildings that have transparent walls? The answer is yes, but they are not glass. Primarily because Terran-based glass comes apart at the seams. The simple little moon dust that floats around would absolutely decimate Earth-built glass.
Right. All right. Well, we only got about a minute here. I want to ask you a quick question from Frequency Girl as well. What is the Greys' sleeping pattern? Do they sleep at all?
Absolutely. Number one, they usually only sleep, and on the whole, they sleep about 2 Terran hours out of a night. Okay. They do tend to sleep laying down. Besides that, they end up falling off their chair. So from that standpoint, But they do have regular cycles, if you will. It's just they're a lot shorter.
Gotcha.
And their version of coffee is a heck of a sight better than Terran's.
I didn't think they slapped. Thought they were more AI generated. Maybe they just plugged in like an electric car.
Yeah, no. The neat thing with the Zeta Reticuli, if you plug them in like an electric car, it's kind of like plugging in a human with an electric car. It does annoy the daylights out of them because what you're doing is electrocuting them. They're not overly fond of that part either.
Right. All right, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break here. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. I'm going to leave it up to the audience in the chat rooms tonight because we're having so much fun with Keith. Do you want another full hour with Keith? Or do we go to the bottom of the hour and then bring in the SOR Newswire and the thought of the day? But I'm going to leave it up to you because I can see how much fun everybody is having in the chat rooms and on Twitter tonight, enjoying a very high-woo concentration right here on the mighty SOR. We'll be back with Hour 3 right after this.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark, and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chide and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour is underway tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder to all of you that you can tune us in on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. Thanks to everyone tuning us in on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. Great to have you with us digitally. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Asiac Couture? I don't know. The Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, do a little shopping at the Spaced Out Radio store called the SOR Vault. Don't forget to sign up for the $5 a month SOR Space Travelers Club, as it is starting to get pretty cool in there, and you definitely want to be a part of it. Well, the audience in the chat rooms has voted, Keith, and they have decided that they want to forego tonight's news and Thought of the Dave for more R. Keith Andrews.
Well, fortunately, I'm up for it. I really do appreciate the support, I'll tell you.
Yeah? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We haven't even hit our topic of the night yet. Haven't even started that yet. All right, let's move on with the questions because they are still building up. Joey wants to know, Keith, what's on your alien bucket list?
Well, one of the things that it's something I'm actually working on is a scale model of the dark side of the moon. What they call the dark side. I mean, I would love to train, and I have yet to find anybody that's built a ship capable, but I would love to travel to the far side of a black hole. It can be done, but there are not many pilots willing to tangle with it.
How come?
Well, because usually if you make one mistake, you don't come back.
That's usually how it works.
Black hole is it completely breaks things down into its molecular parts.
Okay.
Actually, in all fairness, it breaks them down into the quantum molecular parts.
Let's move on. Okay, go on. I thought you were done. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, the closest I managed to pull thus far was the edge of a black hole. That was a lot of fun.
All right, let's move on here. Kevin is asking, Keith, what alien race gave Nazi Germany help, and what were they trying to accomplish?
Well, that's the easy part. The Greys were already the Greys were not involved. Were not too much involved in it. Radio Command, quite frankly, and the only thing they did was they worked on the communication lines. The idea was to help and understand the Nazis were not the only nationality getting help. Okay, every major country in the world that was actually involved was getting help at the same time. They just don't want to talk about it. But specific to the Nazis, they were working on the communication lines with them. And the reason for it was because the idea was that because the Nazis were pushing so far up the line as far as communication went at the time, it seemed like a reasonable way to establish contact. Unfortunately, the Nazis did not do with it what they were supposed to. So the contract collapsed. You know, much like many of the other contracts that were started, but like I said, it was not just the Nazis that had the interaction.
All right. PBR is asking, is the consortium only in our Milky Way galaxy or other galaxies as well?
Oh, definitely many other galaxies. it's here right now simply because of the fact that this is where the activity is. That's why there's so much concentration around it. But they've got fingers in a number of other galaxies as well. Now, the reality is, me not being an astronomer myself, I cannot tell you which galaxies, because frankly, I know they've told me, I just don't remember exactly which ones. Yeah, because the Milky Way, which is it's big from our standpoint, is not that big.
Frequency Girl is following up with, what do you know about white holes in space?
They're a lot of fun, they're a lot of fun to watch, but no fun to play with. Because what they boil down to is the gravity feed on them is just something bizarre. I haven't done a lot of research into them, primarily because they don't use them, and the off-worlders don't use them much. Hate that. Trying to sneeze and it doesn't want to come. Anyway,
I hate that too.
I haven't done a lot of research into them because they are not a transportation path. They do seem to use them for communication, for jump communication, mind you. So I suspect the issue is more a question of whether or not they're viable to use for transport. And from what I gather, not really. A little too unstable.
All right, let's move on to another question here. And this one comes from Catherine. Do aliens abduct people to practice on, like school projects for alien kids?
Ultimately, yeah. Well, that's not the purpose, but they do have students that work on them. Absolutely. The purpose of the abduction, though, is not from a science experiment standpoint. What they do is they bring the students in on already existing excursions. I actually recently ran into somebody that somebody had used, they'd gone in for genetic testing for the hybridization program, only it was blatantly obvious to me that the mark left behind was done by an amateur. Because usually when they do it, they do not bruise the person. In this case, it was bruised and they forgot to put the implant in. But, I mean, they got to learn somehow.
True. Very, very true, my friend. All right, let's move on. Another question from Joey. How do the aliens feel? What? Really, Joey? You know, this is what I get for reading these these absolutely cold. He goes, how do the aliens feel about duct tape? Oh, really? Well, I know you're laughing right now, Joey. I know you are. You probably, spit out your wine spritzer all over your keyboard for that one, but that is funny.
Probably
that is funny.
When I first found out about it was they could not understand why the heck anybody would design tape specifically for a foul. They had a heck of a time understanding what the purpose of it was.
All right. I do have to give a shout out to Joey, though, because Joey actually writes for our SOR Newswire, and his articles are amazing, absolutely amazing, and you got to check them out. He writes one a week, I believe, and Captain Shirk takes care of all of that. But Joey's articles are very in-depth, great reporting, and full of information, knowledge, scientific data. so on and so forth. He is absolutely phenomenal, so make sure you check out his writings at spacedoutradio.com. Let's get to Frequency Girl, who is asking, can aliens try to make friends with humans?
Absolutely. And that gets attempted quite frequently. Sadly, humans, being the skittish lot they are, do not accept the friendship too terribly readily. You know, the reason I know this is absolutely a fact is because I've got a lot of friends that are traveling around out there. Frankly, I got more friends off-world than I do on-world. But yeah, friendships are absolutely encouraged. You know, the thing that they're always cautioned about, though, is even with a developing friendship, they are under strict regulation as to what they can share.
Got you.
As it were, sharing state secrets is a really bad idea.
Catching a little cold there?
No, just having my lung collapsed.
Oh, yeah? Little lung gout there, or what?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Greco is asking on Twitter, how can one volunteer to be abducted by the friendly aliens, not the people eaters?
Finally, somebody that wants to be picky about who they get abducted by.
No kidding. That's exactly what I thought, too. Exactly what I thought.
The answer to that is you keep it in the forefront of your mind, and they will keep an eye out for it. Now, exactly who will pick you up is anybody's guess, but who won't pick you up is the ones that prefer to have you for dinner. That's one of those things that they do scan for, because of the fact that they're very, very picky about making certain that they disrupt somebody's life as little as they can get away with. So a voluntary one is so much easier.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It's amazing, though, like, in just listening to that, you brought up a really, really intriguing point, because a lot of people out there, Keith, will sit there and say, I don't care who abducts me. I just want to be taken so I can experience it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not into that sort of.
Well, I realize that, but it's just very inquiring, because so many people just want the experience. They don't care if it's positive or negative, but you do have to be careful with what you wish for.
Oh, yeah. Like, I had somebody literally tell me they wanted to figure out where a lichen was layered up so they could go uninvited into their cave. And I'm like, are you really that suicidal? I mean, these guys will eat you if you're on the ground anyway, but you go and invade their territory, you're just asking for a painful outcome.
All right, let's move on here. PBR is asking, do off-worlders speak to you or anybody else, or is the communication telepathic?
That depends on the race. The answer is, quite frankly, both. In some cases, it's done by sign language. And no, before people jump on that, we are not talking American Sign Language.
All right. Let's move on here. Let's get to Cog's question. Keith, what do you think is happening down on Antarctica?
Oh, well, I haven't actually looked at what they're up to, but I can tell you what they're going to find. Number one, there is a hole in Antarctica that goes straight into the heart of the Earth. Two, they are going to uncover a civilization that was buried long ago. You know, I haven't actually done any research, so I haven't looked into what they've actually already found. But my suspicion is that they're down there now doing the digging. They've already found the leading edge of it, of a civilization some 25,000 years old. Which, yes, that puts it back a bit. Especially when you think that Egypt was only, I think, 5,000 back.
Do you think that they are working with aliens and alien spacecraft on Antarctica?
No doubt. Quite frankly, from human standpoint, they call it exploration. From the off-worlders, they call it archaeology. Well, that's not the word they use, but that's the gist of it. See, the funny thing is that current time is not the first time that man has managed to get to outer space.
Well, that's good. That's good, I guess. Is that why that... so you think all alien technology that we have found is no longer sitting in bases like Area 51 or Wright-Patterson? You believe it's been moved to Antarctica?
Oh, God, no. No, what they're going to find in Antarctica is new stuff that they haven't come across yet.
Okay. Give us a little tease on that. What's down there?
Well, I know of one piece of equipment that's down there, and they don't want to find it. Because it's about there is a energy source there. Basically, it's a conversion unit that will take life energy and turn it into what amounts to electricity. The problem with it is it will kill the first person that touches it, because it'll suck the guy dry, or the woman. It won't matter. Okay, I mean, that would be first and foremost. That's the biggest problem you're going to run into, is because the thing feeds on a proximity feed, meaning you get within a certain distance, and it'll kill you. The thing was operated when it was running. It was operated at a distance, meaning nobody entered the room. They did the whole thing on remote arms. Either remote arms or psychokinetically, take your pick.
Right. No Megatron or anything like that.
No.
Oh. You're killing me with that.
Sorry.
I was hoping you'd find Megatron.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the other thing. Yeah, you don't really want to find Megatron. I mean, Megatron himself is not what you got to worry about. But you definitely don't want to find them.
All right, let's move on here. Frequency Girl in the Spaced Out Radio SOR Space Travelers Club on our website wants to know what rods are.
Oh, I was about to try and figure out the translation, but she's referring to the entity.
Well, those little floating things, they almost look like orbs, but they got like wings and they're like fluttering around. They almost look like bugs, but they're not.
Yeah, no, I know what you're referring to. And they are related, there's no question there. Basically they're an astral entity. And that was one of those races that didn't make it into the initial book. You know, simply because of the fact that, well, frankly, I ran out of time. I just have to remember. I know what they are, and you know, basically they are very similar to the Vorosic. The Vorosic are the orbs. The rods are a more advanced version of the orb. Okay. Essentially, they're further evolved than what the orb has ever made. But they dwell on the astral plane.
Gotcha. So what about giants? Are there still giants walking this earth?
Yes. And eventually they'll come across them.
I'm not talking about the NBA players or basketball players that are like 6'6" and up.
Those guys aren't giants.
How tall are the giants?
You're looking at 10 to 12 feet. Number one, you take one of the most obvious, frankly, are the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are the group that actually left the planet, left Earth. Okay, but do giants live here? Yes, but most of them have moved into inner Earth, hollow Earth, call it what you will. Most of them have moved underground into the caverns. You got to understand that the reason that they got that size was because when they were evolving, there was a lot more oxygen on Earth than what there is now.
Right.
Which is how they got that size. I mean, they have found skeletons of them. Right, just not recent ones.
All right. I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Keith, because we're going to take our break at the bottom of the hour. You guys wanted it, so we're going to do it. We're going to keep Keith right to the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection happens the first Friday of every month. You can find Keith's books on Facebook. Inner Voice Enterprises, Your Inner Voice, our Keith Andrews. More ET Connection coming up right after this. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Shop at the SOR Vault. You can also sign up for the Space Travelers Club, $5 a month, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Now, I know the captain is probably eye-rolling me right now, But we're going to skip the news tonight because you guys wanted more R. Keith Andrews and the ET connection. So we rarely do this because we like to stick to our format. But you guys are on a roll in the chat rooms tonight. I know the listeners are excited all over the place. I'm seeing the messages and getting hundreds upon hundreds of emails. I'm teasing on that part. But we're going to keep Keith in here. We got him locked and loaded. Keith Andrews, welcome back.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and thank you so much for the incredible questions from the audience.
Not a problem. Hey, before we get started, let everybody out there in listener land know where they can find your books.
The easiest place, I'm trying to get them into eBay and into Facebook Marketplace in Kelowna. But the easiest place to find them at this point is still if you drop me a line at innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. We'll set you up without a problem. We're also going to be getting into Amazon, and we are looking into getting, you'll love this one, both the audiobooks, and we've made contact with somebody that's going to put us in touch with people for Braille.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. You ready to answer some more questions from our audience?
Absolutely.
PBR is asking, Keith, do you know of any off-world four-legged animals that were brought to planet Earth?
Yeah, the juke shop. I shouldn't say it was brought here. I mean, it was, but it wasn't like it was brought with the intention of leaving it. It's called a house pet.
Very nice. All right. Did aliens, according to Joey, have anything to do with Devil's Tower? And if so, what did they do with the rest of the tree? Because he's part of hashtag Team Stump.
Well, we have one little glitch there. And that is, I have no idea what Devil's Tower is.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the big tree stump.
Okay, now I know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Did they have anything to do with it? No, they just capitalized on it being there. They didn't actually set the thing up.
You know, one of these days I'm going to go over about 20 minutes from my place. There's another big stump right around here. I'm going to go take pictures of it. I'm going to go post them on social media. That's what I'm going to do.
You see if you can get a magnetic scan of it.
Oh, I believe it's a stump. I totally believe it's a stump, Keith.
Oh, I wasn't debating it was a stump. I have no doubt it was a stump. Although I would be interested in seeing the magnetic field and the radiosphere.
Well, I think you're right. I think it is a stump, not a big rock that was caused by lava or volcanic activity. It was a giant tree. People say, well, where's the tree? Well, it didn't petrify like the stumps. That's my opinion.
And that would make total sense from my standpoint.
Of course. Of course. Mine too, my friend. Mine too. All right, Cog wants you to expand on Bigfoot, which was supposed to be our topic tonight.
Oh, was
like
it?
2.5 hours ago, yeah. What do you think about what they are... Okay, so what do you think Bigfoot is, and with all the hunters, television shows, and hubbub around the phenomena?
Well, you and I have had an argument about that one, or a discussion, really. From my standpoint, it's pretty black and white. Gigantopithecus. One step prior to Neanderthal. That being said, there is another race that is very similar in configuration called the Wara. And they are definitive. And the Bigfoot itself are protectors of the forest. And that is, I mean, they're some of the gentlest people you'll run into. They are not carnivorous. Okay. Now, the water, on the other hand, look very similar, but are far more aggressive and are carnivorous. So, I mean, you know, the reality of it is the Bigfoot do have the capacity to disappear into the woods, as in camouflage. It is just, they simply know how to use the woods to their advantage far better than man has ever figured out. Thing is, because of their size, they can stand absolutely still and you'll never see them. Because they look in the shadows. They look very much like you know, trees in a lot of ways. As far as their size and shadowing that side of it. Don't get me wrong, they're very flesh and blood. Now, I don't know what the scientists are claiming, but I do know that they are, you know, the Bigfoot is not an extra-dimensional entity. You know, they are corporeal. They've just been around for a while. And you will find by different names, they're spread out across the globe. You know, much like humans have spread out across the globe and are just called by different nationalities. Essentially, same idea with the Bigfoot. You know, Bigfoot, Yeti. I think, if I recall correctly, the skunk ape is another one of them. Another one of the same race, just a different name.
Very understandable. Do you think there's a large population, Keith? Or do you think that they are just in minor clusters?
Well, technically they're in minor clusters. But if you're asking, is there a large community of them, the answer is yes, just not on the surface of the earth. The ones that are surface are usually in small family clans. Clans being usually 4 to 8 people.
Right.
You know, we'll use the term people a little loosely, but I refer to them all as people.
Right. All right. I still think they're interdimensional species.
I know you do.
I know. We'll agree to disagree. This is a fine Canadian argument we're having right now. I disagree.
Yeah, that's okay. You disagree. I'll disagree with you. We'll both get along.
Okay. Sounds good. Think you're wrong.
I know.
I know you know. I'm sorry.
I'm not. I'd be more upset if you all of a sudden went, oh, okay, you're absolutely right.
All right. PBR is like, in Wyoming, big volcano. It is not a volcano. It is a tree stump. Okay? Devil's Tower is a tree stump, PBR. And I am not Carl. Keith is Carl. Anyways, Cog is asking another question here. He says, in earlier appearances, Keith used to keep the topic on brotherly love and the human condition and how we need to be treating each other better. Do you have one book in particular that keys on this topic yet, Keith?
No, but that is one that I am literally working on. And there is a reason for it. But it's one of these things that I've got to get to work on. Sadly, that fine little stroke of mine really buggered up my whole writing schedule. But that is one of those ones that I'm going to aim at getting out within the next year to year and a half, along with everything else. Frankly, in my opinion, it's long overdue. But thank you for asking about it.
All right. We only got about 10 minutes in regards to this. What is the tie, Keith, between the cryptid world and the alien world? Are they one of the same?
Only in some cases. Some of the cryptids evolved here. They have nothing to do with aliens at all. Quite frankly, most of the cryptids are from Earth. You know, you've got a few that aren't. You know, of course, cryptids is not exactly my forte, but I do know when you start taking a look at things like the Loch Ness Monster, Ogopogo, both of those, yes, they're classified as cryptids, but both of them evolved here. You know, same as, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Dave, but does Sasquatch not fall into the same category as the cryptids?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. You know, and again, they evolved here, so, but we just covered that issue.
All right, so if they are one of the same in regards to where they came from or whether they have help or interaction with extraterrestrials, do you believe that the ETs set them here, or do you believe that they are some sort of organic type creature, or could they have been manufactured by the aliens here on Earth?
Well, in all fairness, I don't know of any myself that were manufactured. I do know that the Chupacabra was brought here, although not intended to be released. You know, there are a few plants that I know of that are not from Earth that just got transplanted, much like, you know, essentially being brought over as seedlings. And when we talk about transplant, we do not mean that the off-worlders, you know, planted them, so much as, you know, if you're working in a horticultural bay and you carry a seed out the door with you, all of a sudden you've got an interesting problem.
Right. All right. Question coming from Greco on Twitter. Keith, which alien race is responsible for the Black Knight satellite that is orbiting the Earth now?
Well, you're going to love this one. Mankind.
Define that, buddy.
Try that again.
Define that.
Oh, it's not an alien race. Humans put it up there.
See, to me, it looks like the Black Knight satellite. It looks like a piece of space rock that may have broken off from a meteorite or an asteroid.
Yeah, but it's actually not that hard to do, to make it look that way. I mean, the idea was, quite frankly, camouflage, so it looked that way. But that's one of those funny little projects. It was the predecessor to something they're working on. Ultimately, what they did, it wasn't built on Earth. Okay, it was built in the asteroid that it looks like, if you will. The satellite was built into it. That was one of those neat little shuttle runs that NASA didn't want anybody to know about.
Right.
You know,
makes sense.
But it's the forerunner to a much more ambitious project, because they're in the process of developing technology to grab an asteroid to put it into geosynchronous orbit around the moon. That's going to have some interesting side effects. But the reason they're doing it is to install. They need to test on a smaller item first, because the reason for moving the asteroid in will be to build an off-world starship factory. Primarily because it is a lot cheaper to build it up there and launch it than it is to build it on Earth and try and launch the whole thing.
Right.
But the neat little side effect is what's going to be fascinating when they get it done. And I don't know if they've taken it into consideration, but the fact that the moon has a low-grade atmosphere to start with, the moment you put an asteroid in geosynchronous orbit, what you're going to do is affect the atmosphere on the moon, making it get stronger. Net result, centuries down the road here, we're going to end up with a moon that is just teeming with life. Basically, an accidental shake and bake colony.
All right. We've only got about 3.5 minutes left with you, Keith. 3.5. This show has flown on by.
Yeah, extremely fast. I'll tell you, I cannot be happier, I don't think, with the participation of the audiences we had this month. Just been incredible.
I know. We're going to have to figure out another power show here for December, when you're on next on December 6th. Hard to believe we're talking December already.
Yeah, no doubt. Maybe that's when we should drop into the audience and ask them to come up with an idea as to what they'd like to focus on.
Yeah, who knows? We can do that on Twitter or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
On Twitter. So, one final question before we let you go tonight. And that is about everybody who is listening. Because a lot of people will listen to this, whether they're listening live, they listen to the podcast, they listen to the archives on YouTube, and they'll be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Because everybody only thinks about the Greys and what the Greys are doing and what they're up to and their soulless eyes. How can one protect their own home from any type of interaction with ETs if they do not want it? They don't want contact.
I would love to give you a definitive answer to that. To the best of my knowledge, categorically, as far as just blocking the whole 9 yards, I really don't have a knowledge of how you would go about that. It's kind of like stopping gnats from getting in. I mean, when I was at the Experience Your Speak program conference back in 2014, we had off-worlders materialize inside the house. Well, inside the hotel we were in. So I mean, it's not like locking the doors works. The best I can tell you is that if you make it clear that you do not want any interaction, most of the time they tend to leave you alone, because one of their what's the word I'm looking for? Guidelines, anyway, that's the wrong word. But one of their guidelines is to cause as little disruption as possible. And if you've got somebody that's adamantly opposed to it, it's harder to block out the screen, to screen the memory out, because they're already panicky. And so if you are focused on the idea you don't want anything to do with it, the odds are you won't. Unfortunately, it's not a concrete guarantee.
Well, it's something that we have to work towards, man.
Oh, I do agree with you. Sad to say, a lot of that, the most effective way to do that, and you'll love this one, is for mankind to start pulling together and start thinking on the same wavelength. That will disrupt a lot of it. But let's face it, getting all of mankind to work together is going to be a challenge.
My friend, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Going the full 3-hour distance, brother. What an awesome time. Awesome time.
It's just been a wild whirlwind this month. Phenomenal questions, I'll tell you. And of course, as I've told people before, if they've got questions directly for me, drop me a line, Facebook or on on emails. I do my best to get back to people.
All right, my friend, I'm going to put you on hold here while I wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for tuning on into our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection. The next time he will be on will be Friday, December 6th. His last appearance of the decade on Spaced Out Radio. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on LGAB, Rev Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club at our website and Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your week with us. We got Rich Giordano and Everett Thiemer up the next 2 nights. I'll see you on Monday because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.